monsoon season here in Santa Fe, and I don't know about you, but with all this rain, but my garden is just sprouting weeds like there's no tomorrow. And if you're like me, out there desperately pulling weeds, and you're like this, even for half an hour, much less an hour or two, when you come back in the house, aren't you feeling like hunched over? And my wrists are sore, my hands are sore, right? So I'm just so grateful for my yoga practice because I'm aware of ways in which we can relieve that. All you need actually is a wall. So I'm going to just show you really quickly a couple of exercises that hopefully can help relieve this kind of tension and soreness in the arm and the wrist and the hand muscles. Okay, I'm going to just start close to the screen so I can explain some body parts. We're going to have the hand pressed against the wall, and I'll give you those instructions in a moment, but you'll have your palm rigid. And I just want to point out the different arm parts of the arm that I'll be talking about. I'm calling, this is your tricep, okay? And I'm calling this the inner upper arm. And then your bicep, you know, I think of Popeye, right? the big muscle on top, right? That's your bicep. So the tricep is down here, and this is the inner upper arm. And I'm going to be asking you to move the direction of the energy this way. Okay, it's not going to be a gross rotation necessarily to start because your palm will be pressed up against the wall. But the idea is you're going to be lifting the inner upper arm from bottom to top. And then the trapezius, this big, thick muscle on the top of the shoulder that with so many of our daily activities tends to hike up, and right, we always want to try to release that down. So down and back, down and back, the back body, right? Okay, so all you need is a wall. You don't need a fancy yoga rope wall the way I have here. You just any patch of wall, a securely closed door. If I come here, maybe you can see clearly. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is bring your palm to the wall at shoulder height, fingers pointing up, and then situate yourself so that your side body is exactly at your arm's length from the wall. So you're vertical in your standing posture, and then your palm is pressing into the wall. Now, the first thing to do is spread the fingers wide, wide, wide. And already in sealing the full circumference of the palm to the wall and spreading the fingers wide, maybe you're already starting to feel some release, especially if you've been using your hands like a fist in that grabbing action, right? So then as you press the full circumference of the palm into the wall, see if you can now go back to the action I mentioned where the inner upper arm is lifting up, and then the top of the shoulder, the trapezius muscle is moving down the back body, shoulder blade moving down the back body. And then take your other hand, back of the hand to the small of the back, and move that elbow back behind you so that you're feeling a broadening from the center of the sternum through the length of the collarbones. And then you're actively pressing that palm into the wall, spreading the fingers, lifting the inner upper arm from bottom to top. And then release. Just stand for a moment and see if you can feel a profound difference between your two arms. Okay, and then let's go to the other side. So turning now to face the opposite direction and bringing the palm flat to the wall at shoulder height. Spread the fingers wide. Press the whole circumference of the palm into the wall, the fingers wide spread. And then just bring your other hand, back of the hand to the small of the back to broaden your collarbones symmetrically. And then again, see that there's a vertical line of the heels of your feet pressing down, the crown of the head lifting up. So you're tall and long through the whole central channel of your body. And then from there, go broad with the collarbones, and then that full length of the arm that's pressing into the wall. And then finally bring your mind to the action of lifting the inner upper arm from bottom to top. You're not doing the gross action of wrenching that arm at all, because the palm is sealed to the wall, but you're finding the directionality of going from bottom to top. And then the top of the shoulder releases down away from the ear and down the back body, like the shoulder blade is moving down towards your pelvis. Okay, good. And then come back to the first side. And now we'll do the second stage, where we'll pick up where we left off. Start with the palm, again, a shoulder height, fingers pointing up, other hand to the small of the back. And now, once you have reestablished on this side all those same actions, now simply turn the fingers to point behind you, so that they're parallel to the floor. They're pointing back. The inner wrist is facing forward, the direction you're looking. And now from here, can you feel how that helped to move the inner arm up? Top of the shoulder, down the back body. And then broadening equally from the center of the sternum, out through the collarbones, and just noticing a difference in sensation in this hand position versus the last one. Okay, and then release and let that arm rest as we go to the other side. The hand farthest away from the wall is now the back of the hand on the small of the back, and then you're starting as you did before with the fingers pointing up and reestablishing the verticality through the spine and the horizontality through the collarbones, the upper arms, the elbows moving away from each other. Then turn the fingers of the palm on the wall to face behind you. Press firmly, again, that full circumference of the palm into the wall, and feel how this allowed the inner upper arm to lift up, and then move that trapezius, the shoulder blade down the back body. And if you're dominant in your right hand or your left hand, there also may be a big difference between the two sides. So be interested in noticing those differences. And then release, come back to the first side, and now the grand finale. Again, we'll start where we left off with the fingers first pointing up, other hand to the small of the back, and then turn the fingers to point behind you. See that you've returned to that exact distance of the arm's length from the wall. Now, the final is turning the fingertips to face down towards the floor. Inner wrist facing the ceiling, and now the whole inner upper arm has rotated to face up. Now simultaneously work to move the top of the shoulder blade down the body, the back body. Other hand at the small of the back so that you can stay broad through the upper chest. And then just see, has each stage increased in intensity for you? Is this allowing for a deep release of those tight muscles? Okay, come on out, final side. Placing the back of the hand on the small of the back, the other palm at the wall, and then moving the fingers to face behind, already being aware of that rotation, the lifting of the inner upper arm up, and then going to the final, where you're pointing the fingertips down, inner upper arm lifting up, wrist, inner wrist facing the ceiling, but then again, press firmly through the full circumference of the palm into the wall. And with that, move the shoulder blade down the back of your body. Top of the shoulders, far away from that ear as you can. Exhale into any place that feels particularly tight. Often using our exhalations brings profound release as well. Okay, good. Come on away from the wall and just feel the relief and the release that gave you. And happy gardening.